What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 3 routes that I feel every wide receiver should know to win a one-on-one situation. So I hope this video helps you guys out, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to improve your press release game and you want to learn 20 different press releases that you guys can use, check out that very first link in the description below for a 50-minute long video we offer on 20 different press releases, when to use each one. We explain game realistic situations and then drills to work on each one. So check out that very first link below, fellas, if you're interested. Let's get started with this video. So now, first things first, this is going to be a red zone whip route against inside shade coverage 2 to 3 yards off. Now, a lot of people would be uncomfortable with this type of route because this DB is sitting exactly where we want to sell this thing, but we can really get a lot of separation if I know how to run this route correctly. So let's play this thing full speed. So this wide receiver decides to go with this hesitation release, cuts in front of the DB, and then breaks it off. Now, I love this type of route when this DB is about maybe 5 yards off inside shade because we can really threaten his leverage. You have to think about it. So a DB's lined up, he's inside shade, 5 yards off. Why is he inside shade? To prevent a slant route. He does not want you to run a slant, especially on the goal line. He does not want you to run a slant. So what does a whip route build off of? It builds off of a slant. So you can sell that slant route and really threaten where he does not want you to go. But how do you exactly do that? So when he comes off the line, normally what I would say is if we had a DB walked up in like press coverage, I would say you'd want to attack his outside shoulder, get him to flip, slip back underneath, then whip out. But because we have this cushion, we're allowed to stem him. We can stem him and attack his leverage, but we have to make sure that we keep some distance between the two of us. So I can actually try to cross his face and sell this slant route. So when we cross his face and sell the slant route, where's that DB's eyes supposed to be in man coverage? Our body language, right? He's reading our body language. He's trying to get a read for us, trying to get a feel for it. So when his sole responsibility is to protect the inside, and we're going to sell a route to the inside, and we commit my upper half, that will really get him over anxious to commit, and that will really get him to try to bite on this thing. So when we break to the slant, it's super important that I have speed, because a DB will be reading 2 things. He'll be reading a change of speed on a double move and a change of body language. A lot of wide receivers on a whip route, they will break to that whip and they will take super choppy steps. They will slow way down. No DB believes that that's a slant. But when I have this quick burst and I'm able to come off of this release and accelerate, that will get him to overreact if my upper body commits to it. Now, a lot of receivers on a whip route, they start to cheat it. They will start to run to the slant and then they start to turn their shoulder. They start to turn their hip back towards that sideline because it makes the break a lot easier. Fellas, to get separation on a whip, you have to be a salesman. You got to have speed, you have to commit your upper half, and you have to use your hip drop, the explosive snap, the drop of your hips, bringing your chin to your knee to decelerate you. Because this is the only way we can decelerate when I'm running full speed to create energy and get out of this route. So a great route that everybody needs to know is how to run that whip route when you have inside shade coverage. If it's press, we work something like a diamond release. If he's off, let's attack him and let's threaten that leverage with that slant, because that is the one place he doesn't want me to go. And if I'm a good salesman, I will get that DB to overreact. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. A great job by this wide receiver attacking the DB's leverage, threatening him with the slant on the goal line, and then winning this specific route. All right, so next route we're going to talk about here is a corner route versus outside shade press. So if I have outside shade press, like ideally, we probably don't want to run an outside breaking route, right? We don't want to run an out route. We don't want to run a corner, a comeback, or not say that we don't want to run it, but ideally speaking, we would prefer those routes against inside leverage. So I'd have some more space to the sideline. So if that DB's taking away the outside release by being outside leverage, I should still be able to win. And I think a corner is a great route to be able to win on if you know how to run it correctly. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver, this is Kyle Phillips, the Tennessee Titans. He takes the inside release, he works to restack, and he throws this rocker step. So that's what I like the most on this type of route, is a rocker step on that corner. So DB, like we said, is outside shade. His sole purpose is to protect the outside. Don't let the wide receiver run a fade. Don't let him run the out. Don't let him release outside. Do whatever possible to get hands on him. A lot of young wide receivers don't get this concept. They're not thinking like a DB. To be successful with your releases and what you want to do off the line, you have to think like a DB. You got to think like your opponent. Know what he's trying to take away, know what he's trying to do. So if he's outside shade, you probably won't get the outside release. If you try to run outside, he's just going to get hands, squeeze you to the sideline, and then guess what? You have no space to even run an out route or a corner. So you got to be comfortable taking what he gives you. But you have to make sure that off the line, we could give him something to threaten, give him something to keep his leverage. So when I take this inside release, I can work to restack and actually work this route. So when we restack, now I got all this space. Because I took the inside release and I didn't force it, I got about, close to 20 yards of space to go run this corner. And when it's man coverage, how's a quarterback going to be throwing a corner? With some air. He's going to put some touch on it. He's going to let us go run it down. So now I have space to actually do that. But I got to make sure that I take care of this DB and I'm still able to get separation. So there are a couple things you could do right here. When you get to that break point, you could do like one hard cut. You could do a rocker step, or you could peek back and look for the ball and then break it off. There are a couple different moves that you could do. I think all three of those can be great, but I personally like that rocker step because it's a great way to sell post. Because ideally, if a DB's outside leverage, he's got a lot of space inside. So he's going to be anxious to bite on that post. So when we come up, we restack, it's super important that you sell. Just like the last example with the whip. A DB's supposed to be watching hips, reading your body language. So if you can sell with that body to the inside, hips and shoulders, we're actually stepping there, that's more likely to get him to bite. And guess what? When we get him off balance, hesitating a little bit, and I have space to the sideline, that's a guaranteed win on the route every single time. So fellas, I say this just so you guys get comfortable with it. Make sure we are comfortable taking an inside release on an outside breaking route, just like we'd be comfortable taking an outside release on an inside breaking route. It's based off the DB's leverage, and we have to get comfortable with that to be successful in these one-on-one situations. Let's play this thing again, full speed. That's a great job here by Kyle Phillips. Taking what the DB gives him, selling this rocker step to get that DB to bite on the post, and then giving Ryan Tannehill plenty of space to throw him open. All right, so last example I want to talk about here is a slant route when we have a DB who's about 2 yards off, inside shade. So I love this route because I think it's the easiest way to get separation by selling a fade. And it's by closing the distance with the DB. So let's play this full speed. So this is Chris Olave here with the Saints. So he attacks the DB's leverage, then bursts on the diamond release and runs and wins the slant. So let's talk about it, right? So a lot of times guys will get this inside shade press. And this is still a form of press. It's more like kind of a catch technique, if you will. And they're running a slant, and they know that, okay, I got to do a diamond release. A diamond release is where you take 3 steps on a 45, get the DB to open up and turn his hips, then slip under. But if there's a cushion between the two of you, like there's 2 yards, you cannot just run to the outside. Because if you just run to the outside, and let's say he bites on it, you still have to run a slant. You still have to get to here. And because there's a big gap between the two of you, all he's going to do is just open up his hips and recover. So you have to make it tough on this guy. You have to close the cushion so when you go diamond release, he is right on your hip. So you can use that throw-by technique. So let's watch it full speed. So that's what Olave does. He attacks him. Now, I know what some of you are thinking is, oh, well, this is going to take too long. If the quarterback's just doing a quick, because like some of you, I'm sure most of you are either a youth wide receiver or a high school wide receiver, and that quarterback just catches the snap and throws. I don't have time to do something like this. That's why your tempo is important. So because you can't run the route like just a regular diamond release because you're going to get locked up. You have to close space. But that doesn't mean you close it slow. That means you get into his cushion fast, like Olave does right here. Get into his cushion quick, and then let's work back outside. So when we burst to the outside, he goes 1, 2, 3. Now, instead of him being over here with this big gap, he's right on this DB's hip. He can swap by, throw him by with the hand, and now when he slips underneath, he's got a way better angle to the ball. He can win the race to the ball instead of this DB being able to just open up his hips and sit on this thing. So that's the third route that I feel everybody should be comfortable running. Slant inside shade when he's about 2 to 3 yards off. Now, when I talked about attacking leverage and I talked about the tempo, you can take your time if you're maybe like a backside read or maybe it's like an RPO and the quarterback's doing like taking longer on purpose. Like he's got a different footwork on the drop. Maybe you're not the first read on the play. Maybe it's like a 5-yard under and you're the second or third read. Whatever it is, but that's when you would slow it down. But when it's quick game, you got to get into his leverage quick and you got to attack that outside shoulder quick. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. This is a great route that all wide receivers can easily get separation on every single time if they know how to run it. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you'd like a 50-minute long video on 20 different press releases, when to use each one, and then drills to work on each one, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.